Hi everybody, this is a brief explanation about how I work with the energies of the garden. These are the three types of plants I'm trying to grow at the moment. The first part is a little bit of info about how I work with them, and for you to be able to do it yourself. If you would like to go straight to the activation for your own garden and for yourself to align you to the energies of your garden, and open up the higher devic, angelic and spiritual levels of working with your garden, I'll put the time of the activation down below, and I'll put it on text just here as well. This is a little video about how I have been energetically working with my garden. I have planted back in March, it's now early June, so end of March, I planted a few bulbs and some dormant stems and roots of several different things. So I had 6 peony plants, which were bulbs, 3 pillar fruit trees, which were dormant roots and stems, and 2 magnolia trees, which were dormant roots and stems, plus I decided to uproot some roses that were growing really nicely next to their mother plants and put them in pots. And it's been quite a journey actually, but today, you know, I've come up against all sorts of things like the pots being filled with water because there weren't holes in the bottom, and they're basically swimming in a swimming pool, and then worrying that they were drowned and pouring all the water out and wondering if they would survive. And I'm not actually a very learnt gardener, but this is something that I felt very strongly to do, and it's been symbolic about my dreams and seeds that I've planted as well. So it's been in the metaphorical way, so it's been very interesting. It's taken a long time for a lot of these to sprout, and it's been really interesting watching the different characters of the different plants. So today, having come up against a whole load of various different problems with the plants, some of them are thriving, like this one. This is a peony. It's thriving where it is. This is another peony, but it's just not thriving. It's got a bit of water damage there from being in the water, and that's affected this here. It's a lot better than it was this morning. So I've actually come and I have tuned into them all, and I have done various bits of energy work, and I've come out a couple of hours later to find that they're actually all a lot better than they were. So what's interesting about this is the peony plants. There's 3 different varieties, and I've got 2 of each variety. Some have been a little bit drowned, some have been almost completely eaten by snails. But for all of the peony plants, which I got as bulbs, and then I've put them in their pots and they've grown. So the natural process of their growth is that they establish themselves in those pots. That's the first place they've been planted into. All that those plants needed, and all of them, the ones that were thriving, not so much, but the ones that were not thriving, like this one, needed healing. So healing in a similar way to Reiki. So where you put your hands up around in their energy field and you feel what they need, and they call that energy through into them. So all of these peonies like this have just required energy healing in their energy field, because their root systems are already establishing themselves in the natural way. What I found with these roses, and you'll see there's a stick in there, and I'll explain that in a minute. It's an ice cream stick. What they need, see, this one, it's been eaten by snails, and it's also just really struggling to establish itself. It was already a very tall rose, but it's started to die a little bit at the top, and that seems to be moving down the stem, and then the leaves, which were doing quite well, have all dried up. It's had plenty of water, so that's not the problem, and roses are very hardy. But when I tuned into it, what it needed was some light language, and it needed its roots to be established in the ground. So what it was telling me was that it was in shock from being uprooted, and it hadn't re-established its grounding into the earth, because it was initially growing in the earth and was uprooted and put in a pot. So as the light language came through, I had this stick in my hand because I'd just eaten an ice cream. And these ice creams, I have one every day. They're my little treat to myself, so I really receive positive energy. It's me loving myself. Anyway, that stick, it asked if it could have that stick. So I feel that that stick is grounding the light language that I was doing while I held it in my hand. But I can feel now, when I tune into this rose, that its roots are reaching right down into the earth and receiving nourishment, energetic nourishment from the earth. So this is another peony that was drooping this morning. I did the same thing. I just did the equivalent of Reiki on it. I am a Reiki master, but that's only one of the types of energy work I do. I don't really call it Reiki anymore because it's evolved quite beyond what I was taught in Reiki. Yeah, see, I can feel that. It's very expanded now, its energy. It's pushing me out, not pushing me out in a get away kind of way, but just in a this is how big I am. So it's not asking me for anything else, it's happy. The fruit trees, I was a bit worried because the leaves appear a little bit dry, but all it needed, it just needed my hand above it like this, just to align it to its template, but it was fine, it didn't need anything, and it's pushing on me now too, so it's pushing me, showing me where its boundaries, it's expanded, it's fine, it doesn't need anything. But I have 2 roses, both of them needed the same thing, and I have 6 peonies, and all 6 needed the same thing. I was always taught by my mother that if plants are not thriving, put them next to other plants and the other plants will heal them. This one got completely demolished by snails, so I've done the same energy work on it. We'll see how it goes. It's just a little stem now. You can see all the leaves down here where the snails got it. But the magnolia trees were interesting. These ones have started to get leaves on them. One of them has got leaves at the top and the other one's got leaves at the bottom, which is really interesting. What I felt with this one, when I tuned into it, I had to tune into the top, and what I could feel was the entire tree. I could feel the template of the tree extending beyond these branches, and I could feel it green and flourishing. So this is fine, it's following its template. I just need to be patient. This other magnolia tree, it's just really not grown very much. It hasn't got this has been since March. Magnolias are the first ones I've done, but it has got these little buds coming out the bottom, and I found that really interesting, and I worried if it was like the energy wasn't expanding up to the top of the tree. And when I tuned into it about a week ago, it asked me for a rose quartz crystal, so I've put that in there. It kind of wants the rose quartz a little bit further away. I've been feeling that for a little while. It wants it on the other side of there. And then this plant, which is not thriving at the moment, asked to come and be over near this one. And this one did ask for some purple. So it's got some purple and it's got some rose quartz, and we'll see what happens now. But since I put the rose quartz there, all of these have flourished down here. When I tuned into it, I could feel the template of the whole tree. It's there, but it's just fainter than the other one. Okay, now with having shifted that rose quartz, I can feel the energy move down the stem and anchor much deeper into the earth, and it's enabling this to go much higher as the roots go deeper. So that was my little journey with my garden today. I have lots of journeys with my garden every single day. First thing I do lately is come out here and connect. So let me see if we want to do any light language. So the ones that needed light language were the roses. The others just needed tuning into and hearing and a little bit of energy work. But it was really fascinating for me how different the species were and how the species needed the same things. So, okay, so what I'm being guided to do now is step back. Excuse my grass needs cutting and things need weeding. Is to step back and tune into the energy of the entire garden now. Okay, so we're going to do some light language, I think, or some energy healing for the entire garden. Ishatakako. Okay, some light language. Ishatakatako ko choko choko sotoko ko choko toko poto sokotoko ko. Isachasatakabatoko ko 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 toko ko toko choko sotoko ko. Isachasakatoko ko toko choko sotoko ko ko. Isachasakataka ko ko toko ko toko choko sotoko ko. Isachasakataka ko ko toko ko. So I'm feeling this energy field of the garden, this core area of the garden, mostly confined to the area there where I've got the gazebo and all those plants. That's where I've been focusing my energy, and it's expanded right out now into the house. And there's been like a release at the crown chakra as that as the upper boundary releases, and so there's a connection between heaven and earth now. That reminds me, when I was tuning into the fruit trees, that's what happened. There was a clearing in the equivalent of the crown chakra with the fruit trees. Kichakako. Yep. So that's all we need to do about that. The energy field of the garden is expanded. It's not so constrained into that small area. And now there's a grounding of the energy coming from the devas, the nature spirits, the angels, the source of love and light. Feeling it pouring through my hands, and I'm feeling the garden has full access to that energy. Nishatakatoko, tokochoko, akachakataka sakako, tokochoko sokoko. So it's not constrained by any of my consciousness or my blockages. Akachitaka kasatoko choko sotoko koko toko choko sotoko koko toko choko sotoko boko. Ichasakataka kato koko toko koko toko koko. Ichasakataka kakataka katoko choko sotoko. Ichasataka kakatoko choko sotoko koko. Ichasataka kakatako. Ichasataka kakatoko koko choko. Ikachasataka kataka kakakaka. Ikachasataka kakataka chakasataka kakatoko. Ichakasataka tako koko toko koto. Ichakasataka tako koko toko ko. Ichakatakasataka kakako. Okay, this one's calling in some of this energy. Ikachakasataka kako. Ichakasataka kataka chakako. Ichakasataka tako koko toko choko hosotoko. Ichakata atakaka toko koko. Atakataka katako chokoko. Akachata ti 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 takata ta taka toko toko ko. Ikichi ti 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 taka 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 to. Ichi ti 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 ta taka 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 to. Ichi chi 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 taka 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 to taka toko 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 ko toko ko toko ko. Ikachata kasata kako toko ko 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 ko. Ikachata kasata kako ko ko. Ikachata kasata kako. Akachasata kakata kako. Ikachasata kakata kakata kako. Akati ti 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 takata kakaka ko. I just felt that energy really pour down into the roots of that plant, and a real connection with the earth, the energy grounding into the energy of the earth, receiving the energy of the earth. Just felt a whole load of earth consciousness come back up now into the roots of the plant, including information about bugs and things like that. I'm also feeling it going into my cerebrum, my brain. Feeling the grounding coming through my feet. Okay, and there's been an expansion through the entire garden, through my energy field, so it's like aligning me to the template of the garden. And there's a divine flow flowing through me as the caretaker of the garden and into all the plants. Yeah, okay, and now we're stepping back. That's it. So I hope that was useful for everybody. I'm planning to do some more of these gardening videos, working with the energies of the garden. Blessings, everybody.